Bonjour et bienvenue. Welcome to French Nationals 2022. We are here just outside Nantes in northwestern France, bringing you coverage from the final stage of the Open and Women's National Championships here in France. And we're beginning off with a game from the women's division with Tchac from Pornichet, who you can see on your screen at the moment, wearing the blue jerseys, up against Manchot from the great racing city of Le Mans. It's Benjamin Rees here with you on the commentary this weekend. Delighted to be commentating in France for the very first time. Some of the games just taking off on the fields over towards our left, up here on the stadium pitch. You might see as well a couple of figures wearing green jerseys. Game advisors who will be helping to help players keep to time limits and provide perspective on certain calls as well. And it is Tchac to Pool, and we're underway here on the showcase field. Manchot trying to work downfield for the game's first goal. Just a little bit of a stumble there. Set themselves back to the feet. Looks to wind up the deep shot, fakes the flick, and then goes for the backhand. This is going to sit and sail a little bit, but brilliantly weighted, well reeled in. And Manchot with a nice comfortable hold there for the game's first point and a 1-0 lead. Always nice to get off to a hot start, although maybe given the penguins on the jersey, they'd be pleased with the chilly style of offense they've used there. I'm not going to apologise for that pun. Really well weighted. Uses the flick fake there to open up the space to put the backhand deep and just sits it there and gives the receiver a chance to go up and get it. Solid hold there for Manchot on their first offensive point. Both of these sides not bringing a huge amount of numbers into this weekend. See just the 10 players suited and booted for Manchot compared to 11 for Tchac, so both sides preferring to bring smaller rosters this weekend. As that ball is going to roll out of bounds on the far side. And I think Tchac will actually choose to bring this in from the sideline. Looking with a side stack on the far side. They've got two players isolated in the middle. There's a huge poach on that dump, and that is where they go to Sonin. It's around with a lead pass. Oh, just off the hands. Langlois looked frustrated with herself because she knows she should have had that. And I think maybe guilty of just looking a little bit too far downfield and not focusing on the catch. Manchot with an early chance for the game's first break. Open up a nice and underneath space there, but it just slips through the hands of the receiver. Tchac will get a second go at it here. Reset to Sorin. Fakes the flick. High release backhand towards the far side. Langlois. Had the drop on the first possession for Tchac. This time turns, isolates the reset. Becker. Disc back in her hands, looking downfield. So there's been that strong position to find Sorin on this near side. Tries to squeeze this one into a narrow channel and overshoots the target. Bobby. And it'll be another disc back in the hands of Manchot. Some of the Tchac Open players supporting their female counterparts. Trying to generate a little bit of atmosphere. As the disc is brought in for Manchot. And again, not afraid to take that early reset. This throw is going to sail a little bit. but defender's on the wrong side and it's well read. Trying to squeeze that play down the sideline and the double defense comes into play. Mathilde Danot got the decisive touch. Although she would have been pleased to see a teammate there backing up. Down the far sideline, faked. Back in the hands of Sora. And just overshooting the swing. Some simple, silly errors early on in this game for Tchac. So far, Manchot haven't been able to take advantage with the break. Bringing the disc in, that throws low, it blades close to the ground. Really tough ask for the receiver and couldn't get our hands underneath it. Langlois picks it. Immediately the lefty shoots deep. That's a brilliantly weighted pass. Daban has receiver streaking towards the end zone, instead preferring to look short. Little high release into the centre of the field. Here's Becker. Back into the hands of Daban. Daban leans into that one, finds the space down the sideline, and Tchac finally get their goal. They gave Manchot enough chances to get the break, but they did well to earn their turns back on numerous occasions. And in the end, Anne-Cécile Fertigne with the goal for Tchac will make it one apiece. Against good quality teams, you can't afford to continually spurn opportunities because they can hurt you like this. Brilliant deep shot over the top. Here's the scoring pass. Daban, who had an excellent point, finds a way to squeeze that down the sideline. Defender's on the back shoulder, doesn't really get a chance of it, and we're equal at ones. Shorter games in the pool stage of the women's division. Point cap at just 13. Timers at 60 minutes with a 5-minute half time, for which the clock stops. A Tchac with a pull that rolls and will actually coil back to be just short of the halfway mark. Nice shot pick up once more. Gives the disc a little wipe there, just the sensible thing. Takes that easy free swing because it gives them the opportunity to access that break side space, and they try to take advantage of it there, but the defender was ready and was wise to their ploy. Side stack once more for the Tchac D-line, the first time they've touched the disc, although it's mentioned with only short rosters for both sides. A lot of players will be going both ways, so to speak. Cutting looking a little tired downfield. That's a nice backhand to release that pressure valve. But there's not really any huge connection. They're leaving a lot of space for the handlers to work for that dominator style weave. But it does mean that it does feel that their offense is not in proper synergy. Tries to hop that one past. Really good play there by the defender, just to sag off slightly. Read the disc, went up and snatched it away. Beautiful around break, raking towards the far side of the field. Now going against the flow of traffic, back towards the near side. Sneaking a break through. Receiver again got her feet caught in the turf a little bit, but was able to recover, and the shot to the end zone is overthrown. So much nice offense there from Manchots, but they just couldn't quite find that final pass. So positives, but frustration as well. Tchac going with the side stack again. Manchot seemed pretty comfortable to just sit in that open side space, because when you're set up there, you've kind of only really got one place you're going to go, and Manchot looked ready for it. Slight fumble sticks in the hands. High release backhand to Carlos Sorin with that white headband. Becker, oh, thought about it. I'm not sure that was the intended target, but it works. In the hands of Eloise Villard. And now Caillot. Mark goes back to Becker. I see remonstrating where she wants her support handler. A little high release, sneaks that past the arms of Cour d'Issoy. This backhand's going to pop a little bit. And Alice Fiancette, who's made quite a few key early plays, including the first assist of the game for Manchots. Gets the disc back for her side there. Receiver in space, has a chance to chase this down. L'Enfant does well. Underneath to Senedo. Again, working down this near sideline. Courtoisie, shot for goal. It's good. Really well weighted throw to Chloé Brossard. And Manchot with the hold to make it 2-1. A couple of turnovers creeping into both sides here. And opportunities for both teams in that point near the end zone. But in the end, it's Manchot who are able to keep their cool and get the job done. Continually forcing it down this near side. Doesn't necessarily give yourself a huge amount of space to work with. But didn't seem to be a problem on that occasion for Manchot. Alice Fiancette has the disc in her hands, ready to pull. Just moving around, trying maybe to set their matchups. Whistle goes from the game advisors. Just trying to make sure that Manchot keep themselves onside as this ball, again, drifts its way out of the far sideline. I think this one will be taken at the brick, though, for Tchac. Or maybe not. Instead, a high shot goes right the way through the middle of the pitch and intended target, or perhaps the closest receiver to it, just didn't see it. Fanny Torbi. Now here's Fiancette, again faking the flick and ripping the backhand deep. And a brilliant box out there from Hélène Courtoisie will get the first break of the game Manchot's way. And that'll give them a 3-1 lead. Fiancette there just with a little plant again. Doesn't give the full pump fake on that flick, but threatens it enough to draw over Langlois on the mark. And then Courtoisie does a brilliant job of boxing out there and using that height and that stature to shield the defender from having a chance to make a play. There's not a huge amount that Fretinha, who scored Tchac's only goal so far this game, could do. Manchot with a 3-1 lead here. Fiancette rips a flat pull down the centre of the park. Better distance on this one. And the Manchot defence is able to get set up before their opponents can reach the brick mark. Still count rising, having to take the dump. Feels like a lot of the movement for Tchac is coming from those handler spaces. And they may be struggling to connect with their downfield receivers. And seeing that again there that time, Ermeld that throw slightly. And that did give the opportunity for Senedo to come and make the play she did. getting there before Emily Caillot could do so. She's going to leave Fiancet out into space. Big smile on her face as she chases that one down. Sun beginning to poke through French clouds here. Fiancet might have got a little bit of a tip on the mark on that high release backhand, Becker. Benoit. Fiancet motors up line using that short area quickness. And Fiancet now rips it looking for Senedo. But some measure of revenge there for Tchac with Emily Caillot rising above her opposite number to earn the disc back. Just got a little bit too much float on it at the end, and Caillot got herself in position early enough to use that reach and knock it to the turf. Out of the reach of Senedo. Again, Tchac not finding a lot of movement, or at least not many open players in their downfield sets at the moment. Having to work it between their handlers an awful long time before putting these trust balls up deep. At that time it works. Toby answers the call. Dumps off to Elise Becker. Langlois cuts to the open side. And now she's trying to sit one over the top. Wow. Somehow just able to continually sneak over the hands of the defenders. Drew a couple of them underneath it, but in the end, on the money and on target to Carla Sorin to close the deficit to 3-2. Just about made that stick. And you have to credit the precision of the throw. Pull goes up from Tchac, and Manchot will get their offense back into play. Already seeing Fiancet be instrumental. And this time she finds Courtoisie. Those two seem to have a very reliable connection. L'Enfant. Fiancet wants to go up line. There was a little bit of congestion in that space. Now she goes for the backhand, and a little bit of an air bounce takes it over the defender. Courtoisie. Fiancet goes towards the break side. Disc goes open instead for Dumas. Looking at her options, still count rising. Goes for the break into the end zone. Curls it around the defender. Finds the target, Chloe Brassard. And that will be a clean hold that time for Manchot. The first we've seen since the first point of the game. And it will give them the 4-2 lead. Pull goes up from Manchot. Will land about parallel with the brick mark. And it's picked up by Langlois. Aurore Langlois doesn't like what she sees downfield. Feels like it's been a theme early in possessions from Tchac, having to rely on those handler resets. Villard goes back to Langlois. Nice quick disc movement there, and Langlois comes back up line. Putting it deep. I don't think this has got enough on it, but it found the target well. Just furrowed that inside channel. And Torby with a simple flip into the end zone for Anne-Cécile Bretigny. And that'll be 4-3. Hold my hands up there because I thought that deep shot might have been a little bit undercooked. But Langlois actually got the shape on it right. Able to find that channel to sneak the disc through. And then the little pass on the end zone line to Bretigny will make it 4-3. Both of these sides in Pool B, along with Strasbourg's Seskidistus. 4 pools of 3 this weekend in the women's division, with the top 2 teams in each pool going through to the quarterfinals. The winner of this pool plays the second place team in Pool A, whereas the second place team plays the winner of Pool A. Pool A, of course, oh, I haven't told you this, so maybe not of course. It is Yaka, the reigning champions from Noisy-le-Sec, Lilliput from Paris, and Magic Disc from Angers. By the time Fiancet gets too much on it towards this sideline, looking for Pauline Dumas. Aurore Langlois will pick up. And Langlois immediately rips it, takes advantage of the fact that the defender's fallen over to get it to Elise Becker on the end zone line. Maybe could have milked it all the way in, but instead just choosing to make sure that they had the catch and could successfully secure possession. Here's Carlos Sorin looking for a break to bring us level, and back on serve, and the dump. So maybe a little bit too far for Becker, didn't quite have her hands set in the right place. And it bounces off her palm and into the turf. Fiancet begins the possession with the swing. Is this back on her hands? No mark, and wanted to put it deep. You could see she had that look in her eyes. Instead, rifles this one underneath. You could really hear that one smack the palm of Courtoisie. Reset to Benoit. Fiancet down the far sideline now is L'Enfant. Just finds a little bit of way through that inside channel and puts up, oh, a little floaty one. And Courtoisie emerges as king, or rather queen of the hill, on that possession. Takes it high, a little fluttery pass, but all that flabbergast practice clearly coming in handy to give Manchot their 2-goal lead once more at 5-3. Tchac will be so disappointed that they had the disc on the opposing end zone line and couldn't find a way to force it in. And then Manchot go right the way down the field. For Courtoisie, goes up nice and early, goes up nice and big, and snatches it away from over the defender, Aurore Langlois, to make it 5-3. So, in terms of the weather conditions, it's quite mild here in Nantes, beginning to warm up a little bit here. You can see the various federations involved with the organisation of this event. The FFFD, the French Flying Disc Federation, or Fédération Française Flying Disc. Tchac, the host team. And another initiative that I'm going to get a chance to tell you a little bit more about later. And here is Tchac picking up the disc from the pool. This time going with split stacks. but struggling again. Good poach off on the handler mark to clog the space they were looking for downfield. Becker having to run the give-go. Deban. But he sets off to Sun. Back in the hands of Becker. Utilising this handler movement well, Tchac, but probably want more consistency in linking that up with the players downfield who are set up very deep. It gives the handlers a lot of room to work with, but it also means that you're having to work so hard to get simple unders. And it does limit the deep game perhaps a little bit. Sané goes to Villard. Inside, Flick finds Deban. And, well, that time the disc just, I don't know if it was blocked or whether it just kind of slipped out of her grasp. Either way, I'm not sure that Manchot really mind that much. Oh, yeah, just went to fake it and clearly did not have a strong enough grip. So can Manchot get the game's first 3-point lead? Olivier downfield and didn't get the connection that time with Trouillal. Senedo takes the opportunity to tie her shoelaces. As Sané will pick up the disc here for Tchac. Underneath pass, and you could see the closing speed there from the defender. Hélène Courtoisie been making her presence felt all game. Fiancet catches a tight reset, faking that backhand, threatening the break, going back inside instead. Low throw, Senedo, that is a spectacular catch. Out in front, I thought it might just zip past her clutches, but really committed to it. And for Manchot, they get their just rewards. It's a break and a 6-3 lead. I really thought this shot might have had too much on it from Courtoisie. You can see reaching in front in that position where it's probably maybe a little too close to go for the layout. So you're at full stretch, and at that point maybe you risk yourself, you know, having that slightly uncomfortable landing. But in the end, a really nice catch made to give the women of Le Mans the 6-3 lead. So the pull goes up from Manchot. And the disc is in play with Aurora Langlois with the disc in her hands. First cut, doesn't like it, so chooses the reset instead. Gets herself into that centre handler position in the backfield. Nice little high release, getting it over the mark. Good way to access that space right on the far side of the field. Dano tries to squeeze it down, continually attack that break side, but the connection's not there, and it will give Manchot another break chance. Just brought in, trying to squeeze that one in there. Didn't really lead Benoit far enough out into space. I think that's Bonheur. And the disc will go back into the hands of Tchac. And Langlois wants to strike while the iron is hot. Over the top. Wow, saw that one very late, but adjusted brilliantly to make the catch. I think they're asking the game advisor for their perspective on whether they think it was in the end zone or not. Just double checking, the game advisor says, I think it was in the end zone. They're like, both players. More than happy to take them at their word. I must admit that I thought it was in the end zone as well. You can see it reaching over the top, and I think that right foot is the first that touches the ground. And it's really difficult to track the disc when it's right over your head like that. But almost instinctually, Marianne Sané knew exactly where the disc was going to be, and that'll give Tchac 1 point back of the 3 they need to bring this level at 6-4. Oh, it's really close as to when precisely she secures the catch. A lot of the times when you look at these, you think it's good and it might be just short, but I think when she properly closes her hand around the disc and establishes control, that left foot has left the floor and the goal is signalled. Certainly in real time, I think that was the reaction that many of us had. So here's the pull from Tchac. It's going to land level with the brick mark, slightly towards the far side. Fion set, as there's a tight vertical set downfield for Manchot. But the Tchac defense signed something a little bit different here, going with what looked like a zone look, but they found a way through it, and a little bit of a bobble on the catch there from David, but secured well. Now they're trying to swing around the front side of this zone. It's quite arrowhead in nature. They're trying to find the spaces on the wings, a little bit of handler movement, 1-2. Now the big swing available, and that's where they go, into the hands of Olivier. Trying to get 1-2, ooh, a little piece of that on the mark from Langlois, but it still finds its way to field set. Senedo tries to track it down. The question is going to be whether that first point of contact is in or out of the sideline. We'll have a look at it here on the replay. It's difficult because it's very close. I think she might have just made that, you know. It's so difficult to tell whether she's touching that line. It is mighty, mighty close. Now the game advisors giving their perspective. And it looks like it's going to be a turnover. So either that first body contact is on the line, or alternatively, the first body contact after making the catch might have been in bounds, but she might have had her foot on her line previously when taking off, and thus would be considered out of bounds until she touches the ground again. Either way, turnover stands. Tchac with a nice little inside throw there to get things rocking and rolling again. This one's floated in air mode a little bit, and Fion set pops up to knock that away. With that cheeky grin on her face, tries to rake that around break into the end zone, but it's just shy. On the precipice of the end zone now, Dumas goes back to Fion set. Wanted to get rid of that instant need, not keen to hang around. And tries to zing that one towards the far side. Really ripped it in there, but the connection was good to Pauline Dumas. And that'll make it 7-4, and that, with games to 13 in the pool stage of the women's division, will be half time. So the players are going to be able to take a break for 5 minutes or so, get some water on, make some tactical adjustments. We're going to see if we could do the same here in the ULTI.TV booth. Get a chance to get some fluids on, rehydrate, stretch your legs. Highly recommend that you do the same at home. But never fear, because when you return, ULTI.TV will still be live and ready and waiting with the second half, with the half-time score at Tchac 4, Manchots 7.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work
work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond. We are a group of
Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of the French National Championships. Getting a nice example there of an Ultimate Chia. And we're back underway here. First game of the weekend in the women's division. We've got Tchac from Bornéchet up against Manchot from Le Mans. And it's the latter who take the lead into the second half of this contest. Up 7-4 at half-time in a game to 13. Tchac beginning the second half on offense. Melina Dabin comes underneath. Tries to isolate Sane, and she got free of her mark to get that cut-up line, but the disc got the wrong edge on it and never really had enough gas. And it fades into the turf away, and it gives Manchot an early break opportunity in this second half. Trying to swing it across the pitch. And stretch their Bornéchet opponents laterally. This one. L'Enfant went with the one-handed snag, would have preferred to, maybe made that more comfortable, but secured it more than securely enough. Here's the reset to Benoit. Benoit goes for the around break back to L'Enfant with those bright orange boots. Benoit finds the option underneath in Ponneret. Looking but not seeing what she likes downfield, so taking the reset. Trying to stay patient here. Manchot in the hands of the dangerous Courtoisie. Blades, and I wonder if the defender got a little bit of a fingertip on that Dabin. Either way, the blade made it very awkward for Dumas to catch. You can see it starts off with a little bit of IO shape, and then as it kind of gets above the line of the players, it really begins to blade. Certainly not what Courtoisie would have had in mind. Again, struggling a little bit to generate some movement downfield out of that side stack. Still count rising, not seeing options early on in the still count, but then finding Dabin. I feel like Manchots are really forcing their opposition to hold the disc for a good few beats before getting rid of it. Squeezing that one in to Dabin is Veillard. And now Dabin shoots deep. There's a defender there and did just enough to prevent Toby from making the catch. I think that might be Courtoisie trying to earn back the block. It is indeed. Benoit brings the disc in. Fakes the first option. Still count rising. Has to put it up. Give a receiver a chance to make the play, and they can't do so. Too high for Courtoisie. Tchac will get a short field and try and convert the first point of the second half. It's been a little bit of a grind, and could give whichever side succeeds in scoring a tasty mental edge. And well, I'm not sure that's quite how Tchac drew it up, but I'm also pretty sure that they won't really mind that much. Langlois with the shot deep, and I think it's Émilie Caillot in the end underneath it. You'll see it again now on the replay. Langlois just gives the disc a little bit of a wipe, get maybe a bit of early dew in there. Tries to get the row release, shows the underside of the disc to the wind. It pops up over everyone and then lands perfectly into Caillot's lap. And that'll be 7-5. Beginning to warm up slightly here in Nantes. Seeing the flags of the federations, Tchac, French Fine Disc Federation, as well as the Federation of the Loire. as this ball is just going to sail out of this sideline. Saran got good distance on it, but just couldn't keep the line right. L'Enfant shows no hesitations in bringing it to the brick mark. Where it's checked in by Becker. Backhand force. That should be an underneath shot that they're more than happy to take to Olivier, and it is. Continuation now. Gordoisy. Dished off to Fiancet. Finds Senedo accelerating into that space. And wow, did not see that window there. But a brilliant shot to the back of the end zone into the hands of Pauline Dumas. That is a visionary throw from Keona Senedo. And you love to see it. Unless, of course, you are a Tchac fan. Here's the replay. Just seems to part like the Red Sea. And Senedo takes the opportunity to shoot it in there. A couple of players could have made the catch, but Dumas has the best position, speeds towards the back of the end zone, and makes the catch to restore Manchot's 3-point lead. Score is 8-5 in their favour. I'm seeing there the signs for Action contre la faim, or Action Against Hunger. There are discs on sale at this tournament with the proceeds going to help fight hunger in combat zones around the world. Places like Ukraine at the moment, or in war zones in the Middle East. It's an important cause, and we hope that the various players here at the tournament, which I'm sure they will help support that. Underneath pass, that one doesn't find the target, instead just skims off the morning grass. Fiancet puts her name on it. Little slap of hands with Benoit as she goes towards the disc. Picks up. Cutter loses her footing downfield. That's going to require the reset. Nice little squirrely cutting pattern by Marine Benoit gets her free. Becker poaches off onto the underneath cut, so the reset has to go to Fiancet, and that'll, after a little bit of a muddle downfield, will give us the game's first pick. Players just going to reset their positions. Fiancet takes the underneath pass. Ponere can't connect with David downfield. Disc right on that front cone, and Becker had a couple of drops this game, and that time again just doesn't stick in the left hand. Benoit thinks about the around break instantly to Senedo, but she doesn't like it. Dishes off instead to Fiancet. Fiancet tries to run the give-go. Nice little rolling switch there. Done very naturally by Tchac, and Fiancet tried to lead Senedo into space, but Senedo wasn't quite ready for it. Everyone stopped for a brief moment in case there was a call. There was not. Had that receiver isolated brilliantly in the end zone. Put the disc out to space with the defenders back turned, meant that they would probably see it a bit late, but that time Senedo was just not quite ready for it. Becker makes the underneath catch. Into space, sneaks it past the outstretched hand of the defender. Into Villard. Now Dano. High release, and a couple of defenders close on it, but it still finds its target on the near sideline with Marc. Marc to Becker. Becker puts a little bit of float on this one. It might invite the defender, but they couldn't get there in time. Bonneray not able to close the gap. And Sané was able to securely snag it for an 8-6 lead. Still for Manchot. Tchac trying to eat away at that deficit, still trailed by 2. 8-6 Manchot lead in this women's pool play contest. Pool B. Seskidistus of Strasbourg, the other team in this pool. As this ball is just going to find its way out of the field. So it'll be brought in at the brick. Players going through warm-ups for their games. Disc is brought in and immediately swung to the poached fiancette. Zone coming here from Tchac again, trying to throw a little bit of chaos or mischief at the Manchot handling core. High release, trying to find the option on the far sideline, attack the wings. Maybe a little bit of space there. But just airmailed it. Tchac with a brilliant break opportunity. The zone really succeeding in its quest to generate that early turnover. Villard down the far sideline, gets it back into her grasp. 1-2 steps out of the end zone. Can Tchac force it in? They're going to be a little bit more patient. Back to Solin. Attacking towards the front cone. Dabin on the run. Snags it with that right hand. And they've broken back. I think this is their first break of the game. And boy, did they need it. Because now, with a little over 10 minutes left, they're only down 1 point at 8-7. Feels like game is very much on. Langlois with the pull for Tchac. Right down the centre of the park. Here's Benoit picking up for Manchot. Not a surprise after it worked so well last point. To see Tchac come back out in that zone. Bonneray. Back into the hands of Fiancette. You can see they're trying to keep the still count certainly lower than they have in previous possessions. Fiancette getting it on the run. Doesn't like what she sees downfield. Turning into the backfield. Now things getting a little bit more stagnant for Manchot. So they're just taking their time a little bit more. There's an option on this far sideline, and after some faking and manipulating of defenders downfield, Bonneray catches before dishing back to Fiancette. Really jammed that one in there. Swing available to this near sideline, and they've got a good gainer here to Dumas. Players cutting towards the end zone. Dumas must have thought about it, but instead chooses to put it in a locker for now. Shooting now towards the back of the end zone. It'll be a tough grab. Getting high to make the catch and towing it in at the back of the end zone as well is Courtoisie. That'll be 9-7, but yeah, made that catch maybe a little bit dicey than it should have been or needed to be. Counts all the same though for Manchot. Here's the replay. It just sails. And making the catch, you can see that right foot that lands first does seem to be in bounds. It's always tricky from this when you don't have the angle right there towards the back of the end zone. But it looked good from where I was sitting. Which is on a stool in the, going to call it the media box up here at the top of the grandstand. 9-7 Manchot lead. As the ball goes up, Langlois, with that white visor, picks up for Tchac. Underneath looking for Sane, leading her into the space with no defender, maybe lurking to poach or snaffle it away. Ooh, another backhand that gets too much air on it and is caught, but out of bounds. Good opportunity for Manchot to earn that break back, re-establish that 3-point lead that they've had at various points in this contest. Well, that's a busted coverage. Player wide open. Can't make use of it instantly, but eventually they use it to get a bit of rhythm going in their offense, with players maybe adjusting their position to make up for the defenders down on the floor. Senedo not quite in the end zone just yet. Senedo. Loud calls for the reset. That's where she goes. Nice dump swing offense around the end zone and uses that slight roll curve to take it past the defender's outstretched hand. And Manchot do indeed earn back that break and that 3-point advantage at 10-7. Maybe slightly messy at the start, but otherwise a very clinical point there with the disc for Le Mans. I think Senedo just dumping it off and don't like it at one side of the end zone, swing it all the way around and attack it at the far cone, and defenders can't be everywhere at once. If you don't have your head on a swivel, then good offenses are always going to punish that. Very slight breeze here in North. Flew in yesterday evening. Flight was delayed by about an hour, but what can you do? Team ULTI.TV being very kindly hosted by a couple of players from Tchac this weekend. We would like to extend our hospitality. Fionset will do the same and snaffle that disc up there. Puts a trust ball up and it is answered by Josephine L'Enfant. Dumps off to Benoist. This could be the dagger, the nail in the coffin, as L'Enfant catches the goal, and it's now 11-7. Well, they didn't race around there. As soon as the throw from Tchac was a little bit wayward, Fionset snaffled it in there, and they wanted to get the offense moving quickly, see if they could take advantage of that sudden change defense from Tchac. And although they were able to recover slightly in the end, just couldn't get into position fast enough. Not just to defend any throws that went, but also perhaps to dissuade those throws from even going up in the first place. Pauline Touma has the disc in her hand, ready to pull. Manchot just alternating on the line, trying to perhaps give themselves matchups that they feel more comfortable with. And it's going to be Langlois to pick up. Underneath, making use of the poach to get the disc back. But that is not what they would have had in mind. Again, not for the first time this game. Disc just maybe a little bit dewy, slipping out of the hand for Tchac, shooting towards the end zone, and this time the receiver never had a chance. Beautiful inside break into the middle of the pitch. It's too far for Becker, and Senedo realised that, and she closed the gap and smacked it away with authority. So now Benoist checks it in, looking to lead Senedo into space for the bookends, and she has the double happiness. Gets the D and then gets the score as well, and puts it, well, to a 5-point lead now to Manchot at 12-7, and that, you have to say, is probably deserved and also a little bit brutal. Manchot just seems to have a little bit more consistency in their game here. The first contest of the weekend for both sides. Whoever loses this game, it's not all over for them in terms of the championship. A win over Saskadistas put things for Tchac, get them 1 win and 1 loss, and then if Saskadistas beat Manchot, well, it'd be a 3-way tie, and if Manchot could beat Saskadistas, then Tchac would go through as the second place team. Offside called on the pool. So they will just have to trudge back to their mark. Get themselves behind, make sure they are 100% behind the line. Or they have something behind the line when the pool goes up. I always think if you're not giving yourself as much of a run up as the thrower is and you're setting off at the same time, I'm not sure quite what you expect to happen. Pool landing just shy of the brick mark. Tchac picking up with Langlois. Underneath. Sané comes, turns, makes the catch. Here's Becker. Working it nice and calmly and coolly this point until Langlois got that one all wrong, and she knew it the second it left her hand. Maybe even before it was leaving her hand. But she couldn't stop herself in time, and the disc bursts out of her clutches towards the far sideline. Manchot will have the disc with a chance to ice this game. Brought to the front cone and now checked in. Fiancette on the far side. Tries a delicious break into the middle of the field, and it's going to pop into and then out of the grasp of L'Enfant. Shown some aptitude under high discs, but that time somehow weaseled its way through her clutches. What an inside break. Full splits from Langlois to be able to release that one. Nice little bit of flow here, working down that open side for Tchac. But towards the end zone, space is at a premium and it's clustered and congested. And then the scoring pass can't stay its line and stay in bounds. Feeling set for Manchot as the disc is brought back in. Low throw from Fiancette, too low and too far for the receivers. Another opportunity now for Tchac to try and inch away at this hole they've dug themselves into. Elise Becker. Finds an option underneath. That's Caillot. That will pop a little bit. Not a problem, though, to be reeled in. Langlois. Down the sideline. Finds the receiver and finds the goal. That looks like Carla Sora with the white headband to make it 8-12. And although they couldn't get the break to win it on defense, 5 opportunities now for the women of Le Mans, Les Manchottes, to get that final point on the board. If Tchac can score the next 4, we'll go all the way to sudden death. Just hearing the over the tannoy, the announcements about the I think it's the Open Captains meeting. Tchac pull. Choosing not to take the offside call. And swinging to the near side instead. Just keeping it calm, keeping it patient. It's good from both sides here. Effective zone that's stopping downfield movement, but also lots of quick disc going and some 1-2 give goes. That sort of thing out in the suburbs. Dumas, shot for goal. This could end it. Senado makes the grab. One of a number of goals she's been able to reel in this game. And that will give Manchot the victory. 13-8 the final scoreline. Senado catching the winning goal. And looked like it might be close for much of the first half. But in the end, Manchot really ran away with it. And Tchac didn't have any answers, despite the slightly larger roster. And that'll put Manchot into pretty much guaranteed quarter-final place. Of course, we could get some funky stuff with 3-way ties. But for them, their job is done. First game on the show pitch, and they've comfortably dispatched of their opponents. We're going to be back in about 20 minutes' time or so with a game from the Open Division with 33 Tours from Bordeaux, taking on Puke Ultimate, the Paris University Club. So don't go anywhere, because ULTI.TV will see you on the other side, and your final score here is Tchac 8, Manchot 13.
Help us go electric, become a member.